Whatever you do, be cool. Dominic spent the entire summer preparing for middle school. He studied the map and he memorized hallways. He wanted to know where he was going because his one goal was he didn't want to look like a lost 6th grader on the first day. So the morning comes, he's got his backpack on and he's nervous. I'm nervous, but I'm ready. First class of the day is Spanish, and the Spanish class is all the way down in the 8th grade hallway, which already feels terrifying. So he's walking through and there's older kids everywhere. And when you're in 6th grade, the 8th graders seem huge. He's walking down the hallway. He's feeling good. He's acting cool. And then he sees a group of older girls, and his confidence kind of takes over. These girls have perfect hair. They're laughing. They're leaning on their lockers. So I told them, get lost. That's an insane thing to say. Did he cry? He decides to try to play it cool. He says hi to the girls, smiles at them, and winks. Ladies? But because he was focused entirely on trying to impress these girls, he didn't see what was right in front of him. A janitor, the janitor's cart, and the janitor mopping up someone's vomit. He runs into the janitor, he slips on the vomit, and he falls into the big trash can that's on the janitor's cart. Oh, loser! He climbs out of that trash can as fast as he can and he runs to that Spanish class. And all that effort trying to look cool and not seem weird failed. Because for the rest of the year, he was known as Puke Boy. That's unfortunate. You're trying to ruin my life! Ow. Jake genuinely believed his cat was ruining his life on purpose. Her name was Mildred, and he thought his cat had one mission, to destroy his social life. Because Mildred would pee on everything. His laundry, his backpack. One time, she went into his closet and tore up a bunch of his clothes. Everything is ripped! And the worst part was she wasn't even sick. He thought maybe she's acting out because there's something wrong with her, so he took her to the vet, but the vet's like, she seems incredibly healthy. Meanwhile, Jake's showing up to school smelling like cat urine. Dude, what does that smell? Oh, that's just Jake. What the heck? Jake knew it was Mildred's fault. Then it started escalating. She was pooping in his shoes, sleeping on folded clothes right after they were washed, so everything he wore was covered in hair. For years, Jake thought, this animal hates me. Fast forward 15 years, Jake is grown now. He's got long hair and he's living in an apartment by himself, and he still has that cat Mildred. One day he's sitting on the couch watching TV. He looks down and there's Mildred. She's very old now, and she's huge, curled up in a ball right next to him. She's obsessed with being near him in every second, and one day it clicks. She just wanted me all to herself. Now, maybe that's true, maybe it's not, but all he knows is that 15 years later, he loves that cat more than anything. She loves him. It's kind of sad and beautiful. She got the question right. No, she didn't. This girl comes home from elementary school one day. She's genuinely upset over one quiz question that she got wrong. I wrote here that a tomato is a fruit. Sweetheart, a tomato is a fruit. You got that question right. And yeah, a tomato is scientifically a fruit. End of discussion. So the dad writes a note to the teacher. Hi, my daughter got this question wrong. Well, technically, she is correct. A tomato is indeed a fruit. Thank you. The next day, his daughter comes home. Hey, Dad, she wrote you back. This is what the note said. She writes this. While a tomato is technically a fruit, because it is used like a vegetable, we are teaching students that it is a vegetable. That makes no sense. That makes no sense. The dad's just sitting there for a second, like, you're literally purposefully teaching students the wrong thing. A couple weeks later, that school has an open house. All the parents are invited, and that teacher is there. He walks up to her. Hi, I'm Mr. Johnson. Hi. So, what other completely false things are you teaching my daughter? She was stunned. Have a good night. Honestly, that makes no sense. School prank gone seriously wrong. Or right. This was back in 1979. Somebody glued all of the locks on all of the doors in this one high school. The teachers show up. They can't open their doors. What the heck is going on? Keys won't even go in. They couldn't even get into the supply closets because those were also glued. Within 20 minutes, the whole building is in absolute chaos. Janitors are trying solvent. Teachers are trying to pick away at the glue. Students just standing around watching this all unfold. Eventually, the principal actually canceled school. School is canceled until further notice, students. Now, here's the thing. This all happened during the nicest week of the year. It was sunny, warm. Everyone wanted to be outside. So instead of being upset, obviously the students were like, all right, days off. We're going to the pool. Yabo! They were tanning, they were listening to music. Because it's the 70s, nobody can text, nobody can call, so they're calling each other. Are we still off school? Is school still canceled? Then they find out from the principal that prom is canceled until whoever did this comes forward. Still, nobody talks at first. 3 full days go by before the school actually replaces the locks. Then eventually, the kid that did this admitted to it. It was me. He gets expelled, immediately. School's back in session, prom is not canceled. But here's the thing, nobody was mad at him. The students actually loved him for it, because right before prom, they got a few days off to go to the pool and get their tans on to be tanned for prom. It was a perfect situation, and that sounds awesome. Her mom's boyfriend was nice at first. Helpful, friendly. Hey Kayla, I brought you home some McDonald's. Thanks, Mark. He treated her great. Then he married her mom. And almost overnight, he stopped talking to her completely. Hey Mark, how's your day? He would walk past her like she wasn't even there. Then her little brother was born. And that's when it got worse. She said he basically decided that she didn't belong in the house anymore. First, he stopped cooking for her. He told the 14-year-old, if you want food, buy your own. But she also wasn't allowed to get a job. Then he would take her laundry out of the washer mid-cycle to put his own in. And he would throw her wet clothes just on the floor. Why'd you do this? He would always scream that it was because, this is my machine. I bought it. And then as a punishment, she would make her do everyone else's laundry and fold it all. He banned her friends from coming over, never let her take the classes she wanted at the park district, and then he did one thing that she said that she would never forget. She went away to school camp for 2 weeks. She came back excited to get home. She walked into her room, looked at her bookshelf. All my books are gone. Every single one. Turns out, while she was away, he had been using her book collection to start fires in the fireplace. One by one, burning them for kindling. And that is another example of a horrible person. They wanted a legendary senior prank. So they snuck to the football field at midnight with a gallon of chemicals, and their plan was to spell out the graduation year in big numbers across the field with these chemicals. So the grass would die and would spell out 2025. Guys, just wait till after the weekend, it's gonna look awesome. Best prank ever. When Monday came around, it worked. Their graduation year was spelled out. But apparently this field used specialized soil. The chemicals seeped into there and spread around. The damage was permanent. School brings in a contractor. I know you think it's just grass, but it's not just grass. It's a $10,000 repair. We have a game in 3 days. Well, fork it up. Now, the school actually wanted to be chill about this. They were just gonna give the kids community service and call it a day. But when the insurance company came, we aren't paying a dime for this unless you call the police and file a report for vandalism. That's just how it goes. So, in order to fix the field, the school had to make it official. They had to file a police report against these kids. They all got taken down to the station, and they got a court date. And yeah, that definitely ruined their graduation. Younger siblings, am I right? This guy had a younger brother, and his younger brother always won. Didn't matter what happened. If they fought, he would get blamed. If thing broke, he would get blamed. Parents always hit him with, you're older, you should know better. The younger brother figured this out fast, so he started using it to his advantage. He would start trouble, poking him, annoying him, messing with his stuff. Second the older brother reacted, dude, get out of here, what's your problem? He would just scream, Mom! And then the older brother gets in trouble over and over and over again. So eventually this kid decides, all right, that's enough. Because no matter what happens, he gets punished. So he's at least gonna get a little bit of revenge. He waited until nighttime and he went into the bathroom that he shares with his little brother. He takes the toothbrush and he puts soap all inside the bristles. He then lets it kind of dry and puts it back in the cabinet. Well, when his brother brushed his teeth that night, it tastes weird. He's spitting toothpaste everywhere, but his parents are annoyed. They're like, dude, just brush your teeth. Quit being a baby. Your toothbrush is fine. It's normal toothpaste. No, I can't. It's disgusting. Stop being dramatic. And yes, it was simple, but the noise of his brother getting yelled at, even for something so stupid as that, made him happy. This makes me happy. And he slept well that night. Oh my God, my farms! This was back in the Facebook game era. This kid's mom was completely addicted to Farmville. She'd wake up in the morning, pour herself a cup of coffee, and immediately it was farming time. Harvest, plant. My farm is looking great. This mom was also kind of a helicopter parent, so she would monitor her kids' activity online as well, which meant she had her kids' Facebook passwords. But more than monitoring their activity, she was also playing Farmville on their accounts. Basically a whole digital farming empire. All of my farms are doing amazing. She took it way too seriously. I'm not sure if any of you remember this or your parents, but Farmville meant business back in the day. One day, the kids get grounded for some bogus reason, and the son, he's mad. I'm mad! He wants payback, so he's sitting in his room and he's thinking to himself, what does she love the most? Her farms. So one night, he logs into his Facebook, and he intentionally sabotages everything in his farm. Then he goes on the family computer. His mom's already logged in. He goes to her precious farm and completely sabotages everything there as well. Selling, deleting, harvesting too early. The next morning, he hears it. He's still in his bed. From downstairs, he hears the yelling. What happened to my farm? What happened to all my farms? Panic and fast-clicking mouse noises filled the air. She spends the whole day absolutely furious, talking about hackers, emailing Facebook. She never put two and two together that her son probably did this, but he knew, and it made him so happy. That's what you get, Mom. If you can't eat it, you need to wear it. This kid's parents had this unbelievably weird dinner rule. Every night at dinner, if you refused to eat your food or you got full before your plate was finished, you had to wear your food. I don't want to eat my peas. Put the peas in your hair. Or, I'm too full to eat these mashed potatoes, and rub the mashed potatoes all over your head. Apparently, this kid's parents thought this was teaching him discipline or something. One night, this kid refused to eat his green beans. I don't want to eat them. And I can't eat my spaghetti either, I'm so full. Well, then you better line up each and every one of those green beans in that ugly mullet of yours. And make sure you drape all the noodles over your head as well. You know the rules in my house. So he puts it all on his head. And the thing is, they wouldn't let him shower after this until right before he went to bed. So God forbid they had guests come over. What is he gonna say to him? Sorry, I smell and look weird. My parents made me mush all my food over my body. Oh, that's actually super messed up. So every day during class, she made her students sit in a circle and they had to confess something they felt guilty about. It was called the guilt circle. She said it helped build trust, but it felt more like public humiliation. Every morning, right after the bell rang, one by one, share something you regret, something you're hiding, a dark secret. And if you really couldn't think of anything, she would say, that's fine, but you're going twice tomorrow. It would be stuff like, I ate my sister's Halloween candy, I cheated on a vocab quiz, but after a while that wasn't good enough for her. She wanted them to go deeper. I spread a horrible rumor about my friend. I took money from my mom's purse, and she loved it. Oh, why do you think you did that? Do you think she knows? Day after day, week after week, this is how things went down. Until one day a kid stood up and said, you know what, Mrs. Keller, you should feel guilty. You make us say this stuff in front of you and all of our classmates, and then I bet you go laugh about it in the teacher's lounge. The whole room froze. She didn't say anything. And I guess that was all it took, because the next day, the guilt circle stopped. For real though, that is super messed up and completely unacceptable. It was supposed to be a normal middle school sleepover, but then things got crazy. It was 4 friends, they were all in 8th grade. They had the sleeping bags in the basement, Nerf guns, soda, the usual. They go upstairs, they're playing video games, but then one of the friends says this, yo, what's that behind the fence over there? Oh, that's my neighbor's hot tub. We should go in it. Oh. Wait a minute. They laughed it off at first, but 1:30 a.m. hits. The parents are asleep, and they went outside. Are we really doing this? This is a bad idea, guys. Shut your mouth, Ralphie. Everyone chill out. We're going in. Next thing you know, all 4 of them are sitting in the neighbor's hot tub, snacking on Doritos, and someone's playing music from their phone. Okay, this is really nice. Pure relaxation, boys. Pure relaxation. All right, we should get out soon, guys. Shut the hell up. Well, that's when, all of a sudden, the backyard floodlights go on. Oh my god, run! Yeah, there's 4 kids in my hot tub right now. Get out of here! The next morning, everybody's in the kitchen having breakfast. Everyone's worried about last night. Well, the doorbell rings. Oh, I'll get that. Wait, no! Hi, Mr. Johnson. Hi, Carol. We should have a conversation. She found out everyone gets in big trouble, but that sleepover went down in history as one of the greatest of all time. It started with a rule. The dress code is to promote professionalism. No crop tops, no tank tops, no ripped jeans. Girls' pants can't be above their ankles. Some real crazy dress code stuff. Well, this girl had enough, and she wants to do something about it. So one day, she shows up to school in a full-body horse costume. Yes, I know it's a llama mask, but I don't have a horse mask. So bear with me. Mane, hooves, tail, covered head to toe. And technically, this horse costume followed every single rule. That's not professional. Show me where it says no horses. They couldn't do anything, because there was no rule in the handbook that said no costumes or no horses. There was no skin showing, her ankles were covered by the horse costume. Like I said, she knew the handbook better than the teachers and the principal did. But the thing is, the teachers were obsessed with this. One teacher would bring her carrots every morning. Hey, horse girl, I got a carrot for you. That's hilarious. One teacher said, you're my hero. Even the lunch lady would start neighing whenever she saw her. She wore this horse costume every single day for 3 straight weeks. But then the school finally added a new rule. No costume wear. This class was visiting colleges. They were all on a bus to visit one of these local colleges. Well, this junior was sitting by his girlfriend. Now, these two had been dating forever. Everyone knew them as that couple. But halfway through the bus ride, and Kevin, Kevin, we gotta talk. She breaks up with him on the bus. I can't do this anymore. You're an embarrassment to me. I have bigger things I want to do with my life. And you're gonna hold me back. I'm done. We are done. Oof. And he's just taking it. He finally stops talking and he's just sitting there staring out the window. 5 minutes go by. Then he quietly stands up, lowers the window gap as far as it'll go, shimmies his way out, and jumps out of the bus while it's moving. The bus is going 35 miles per hour on the highway. Everyone's panicking. Stop the bus! Stop the bus! Oh my god, he jumped! What happened? Well, I broke up with him. He said he didn't want to be on this trip with me, and he jumped out the window. So, not my fault. Now, this kid was fine. When he jumped out, he landed on this big pile of grass on the side of the highway. Just some scrapes and bruises. But when he landed, he just stood up and just ran into the woods. Full sprint. Backpack on and everything. They had to call his parents. His parents came to the side of the road where the bus was at. Staff was sent into the woods to go find him, and they found him, sitting by a creek on a log, crying softly to himself. Hey buddy, you okay? I loved her so much. Leave me here. Leave me here. There was this kid in 8th grade, and to be clear, nobody liked him. Why? Well, because he was frickin' mean. He would steal people's food and say, "Mine, survival of the fittest." He barked at the PE teacher once. Ruff. And he had this really insane talent of making other people cry. Kid was a certified menace. One day during lunch, he picks up one of those tiny square milk cartons, and he sees someone across the way and says this, "Hey nerd, catch this." He winds up, he launches the milk carton, and he misses. The milk carton missed the kid he was trying to throw it at, but it hit the security guard in the chest. Oh, you, come here now. And let me say this, the security guard was a huge, buff dude. People respected him because they were terrified of him. No. I'm so sorry. Well, this 8th grader is now starting to panic because he's terrified. I said, come here now. He starts walking over there slowly in shame and terror. And just like that, every single student in the cafeteria begins cheering. Justice. Justice is served. Who's the nerd now? Loser. Everyone was just so happy that this kid, who seemed to never get in trouble but was always so horrible to other people, was finally getting the karma he deserved. I need a new egg. Oh god, you can use mine. It's physics class. This kid named Frank has a presentation, and he needs an egg for some reason. Well, he brings one from home. Just one. Before class even starts, he sees a kid in the hallway that he doesn't like, and his genius self decided to throw his only egg at this kid. He makes me so mad. Ew, what the heck? So now class is about to start, and he's just like, oh god, no, I don't have an egg anymore. I'm gonna fail. I need to find an egg. That's when some random kid who was walking by in the hallway stops and says this to him. You can borrow my egg, huh? He laughed, thinking it was a joke, but it wasn't a joke. This kid pulls out a real egg, and it has a face drawn on it. This is my son, Leonardo. Be careful with him, please. I'm gonna meet you back here after class. He hands it over like it's a sacred little egg. Frank uses it for his presentation, and he passes. The egg doesn't break. But Frank was so relieved that this all went well, when he was getting up to leave the classroom, he accidentally knocked Leonardo on the ground, and Leonardo cracked. Broke open. When he met the kid outside the classroom at the end, he just handed him bits of shells and yolk. Hey man, sorry, your egg broke. My bad, but thank you. Oh! Hey Leonardo! My boy! Why is there a piñata in the cafeteria? It's her birthday! So this girl, Olivia, she had a December birthday, and she hated how nobody celebrated it because it was so close to Christmas. There was never any cupcakes, no parties, and she was kind of tired of it. So for weeks leading up to her birthday one year, she saved up some money. She buys 4 giant piñatas, and she stuffed them herself. Dollar bills, candy, snacks, tons of stuff. Her plan was this: 1 piñata in the lunchroom, 1 in the hallway, 1 in the gym, and 1 in her math class. She even brought wooden bats to school to use for these as well. The first one at lunch, she pulls the rope and the piñata rises. She yells, and go! Kids abandon their trays and they rush towards this piñata, fighting over the bat to beat this thing. Candy explodes all over the floor, dollar bills are floating around. It was awesome, people are going crazy. One teacher tries to stop it. Hey, put that bat down! One kid says, it's a cultural celebration! And the teacher backs off. He's like, alright, fine. 3rd period. In the math classroom, kids beat the crap out of it. Taffy rains down like confetti, and 2 students start fighting over the last Kit Kat bar. Security shows up. Yeah, we've got piñatas on multiple floors. I repeat, there are multiple piñatas. Olivia gets called to the office. She's carrying a broken bat that's covered in Smarties dust. The principal says, "You brought 4 piñatas to school today." "Yeah, it's my birthday." "Well, happy birthday. You're suspended." She gets a 1-day suspension. But for the rest of that year, all people could ever talk about was that crazy day with the 4 piñatas, and that sounds absolutely legendary. Where does he get all his money? Oh, he runs a school storage empire. Nice. So this kid finds an extra locker. No name on it, no combination, just unlocked, and he gets an idea. He cleans it out, puts his own lock on it, and he starts a business. $3 a day for private storage. He spreads the word, people start taking him up on this. The first week he makes $15, just from kids storing some random stuff, like a lunch or a hoodie, but he takes that $15 and he flips it. He starts renting lockers from other students. He found kids that never use theirs, and he gives them money. He rents it out from them. And now he's running his storage business out of their lockers as well. It's simple. He pays a small little fee, he charges people for storage, and he keeps the profit. At his peak, he had 3 different lockers in 3 different hallways. Different clients, different time slots. People would store their phones before gym, put their hoodies in there when they were too hot. There was no drama, no theft. Everybody respected the system. He kept a spiral notebook to track who had what in what locker and when. He even offered weekly deals. $10 for 5 days guaranteed. One kid used that to store a bunch of snacks for himself to have throughout the week. But then, one day, 3 kids are hovering by locker 223. A teacher walks by, sees one of them pull out a whole bag of candy and a phone charger. "Whose locker is this?" Nobody answers. The admin gets involved. They pop the lock. Inside are 3 phones, a hoodie, a bag of Takis, and a pair of Crocs. They start asking around, and eventually his name got brought up and he was called to the office. "Were you charging students to use lockers?" "No, I was offering a service, but what would you know about that?" Locker Empire shut down, but in 2 weeks he made over $100. No losses, no complaints. The only reason it ended was because it got too popular, and that's a good thing. You gotta respect the hustle. So one of my subscribers sent this story in, and it's genius how simple it is. This kid started a snack business at his school. He posted the menu in his class group chat. People would place orders in advance, and he had a drop spot and everything. First day, chaos. Everyone showed up, they cleared them out, business was booming. But here's the thing, at his school, snacks weren't allowed, like at all. So when students started eating in their classes, the teachers kind of snapped. "Where's all this food coming from?" And well, one kid panicked and said, "So there's this guy." Bingo, snitched. The whole thing traced back to him. Kids who were eating snacks in class were getting detentions, and he was shut down completely. Before it got shut down, he made $30 profit on day 1. $30 profit on the first day. That's insane. And he tells me he's not done. He said he's gonna take the risk and relaunch. And see, this is the type of mindset that we need. Because the reality of it, schools teach us to be good workers, to stay quietly at a job for the rest of our lives, and do what the man says. But we don't gotta do that. This kid has entrepreneurship. He's got hustle, baby. He's a subscriber with a vision, and you know what I always say, you gotta respect the hustle. What are you dipping your fries in? Applesauce? So one day, this cafeteria lady says, "No more salt or pepper," and just straight up takes all the packets of salt and pepper off the cart. Gone. People are like, "Wait, what? Why?" And she says this, "It's part of the new health initiative. We're cutting back on sodium." But here's the thing, they did this, but they're still selling Mountain Dew in the vending machine. 52 grams of sugar, fully stocked, vending machine right across from the lunch line. Doesn't make any sense. So now lunch is like unseasoned chicken sandwich, wet green beans, and a bright green bottle of rocket fuel. One kid goes, "We can't have salt, but I can buy a code red before math class? Make it make sense." Another kid is literally dipping his fries in applesauce. "I'm doing what I can, man. Just trying to survive out here." Ugh. Now this opened up a black market opportunity. Kids started smuggling salt and pepper packets into the lunchroom to sell them. But the lunch aides and the teachers were on it, and everyone who was caught selling this stuff or using it got detentions. It was a battle like this for a while, and guess what? The school never brought salt and pepper packets back. But the Mountain Dew vending machine, it's still glowing right there in the cafeteria. They plotted this for weeks. For about 2 weeks, this small group of students would take the lunchroom food and shove it in their backpacks to save for later. You know, mashed potatoes, hot dogs, milk cartons, pizza, chicken tenders, you know. They would bring it home and put it in the fridge. They're stockpiling cafeteria food. Then, one night, they broke into the school. They snuck into the principal's office. And one by one, they swapped everything out on her desk. But they were swapping her stuff out with the cafeteria food that they had been saving. They took her stapler and replaced it with a scoop of mashed potatoes. Her landline phone they replaced with 5 hot dogs. They filled her coffee mug with shredded chicken, and they replaced all of her pens with straws. All the leftover food they put on her desk chair. The next morning, the principal stared at this all in disbelief. What in God's name happened in here? And it was as easy as checking the security cameras. Those kids were caught almost immediately, but still, that's actually kind of hilarious. This is messed up. So there was this kid named Owen, always polite, quiet, but he was always reminding the class of his peanut allergy. I have a peanut allergy. And the teacher backed him up every time. And guys, remember, no peanuts in class, please. Thank you. But one kid, Tyler, got sick of hearing it. I'm so sick of hearing this. And he swore Owen was faking this entire thing because he wanted attention. So on a random day, Tyler brought candy for everybody. And he made a big show of it. Don't worry guys, they're regular M&Ms. Totally safe, Owen, I promise. But they weren't. They were peanut M&Ms. He gave one to Owen and he ate it. Wait a minute. Everybody was laughing, and Tyler was getting ready to prove that Owen was faking it this entire time, but that's not what happened. Nothing's gonna happen, guys. He's been faking this. Oh, Owen. He begins choking, wheezing, and then he falls out of his chair. A teacher called 911, and Owen was taken to the hospital. And Tyler got suspended for weeks. Yeah, that's messed up. If your phone goes off in class, you might get arrested. This school had a strict no phone policy. You couldn't even have your phone on you. Not in your pocket, not in your bag, nothing. But the real rule, if a phone rang, audibly buzzed, or dinged during class, the entire room had to stand up, hands on their head, and wait. So you see, 50 years ago, they invented broccoli. Alright, stand up. They would then send in a school officer to search every single student. Pocket checks, bag checks, didn't matter. Everybody was getting searched. And if you didn't comply, or if they found your phone, incarceration may result. That's what the handbook said, meaning you might get arrested, which doesn't make sense. And I want to remind you guys, this is a real story. So one day in third period, somebody's phone rings loudly. Everybody up, hands on your heads. The officer comes in. Well, one kid isn't standing up. Stand up. Eat my shorts, idiot. Excuse me? I said eat my shorts, big man. That's it. Get up. And they arrested the kid. Yes, I know he was talking back to him, but still, I don't know where the school got off or what kind of law they were writing on, but this entire thing just doesn't seem okay. One day at school, 2 girls started throwing hands in the lunch line over a yogurt. 1 single cup of strawberry chobani. Lunch was already chaotic that day. They ran out of chicken sandwiches early and the drink cooler was broken, so everybody's tense. Then a senior cuts the line and grabs the last yogurt off the tray. Another girl behind her goes, "Yo, that's mine. You didn't pay for it yet." "Yeah, but I was next. You cut me." They go back and forth, then suddenly, boom. Tray gets smacked, yogurt hits the floor and explodes everywhere. And then, it begins. A full-blown fight cuts loose. Security's still halfway across the lunchroom trying to make their way. People are gathering, phones out recording this. But in the dead background, you can see Mrs. Jenkins, the school principal, standing there, arms crossed, definitely invested in this fight. Hey, cut it out. Kids are yelling, "Hey, somebody should stop them. Mrs. Jenkins, do something. I'm observing, okay? Security's coming, it's fine. Ladies, please." The girls get pulled apart. Nobody is seriously hurt. Just a busted lip and a ripped backpack. But the footage hit Snapchat that afternoon with the caption, "Mrs. Jenkins ringside." Nobody got suspended, just a couple detentions were handed out. For the rest of the year, whenever kids saw Mrs. Jenkins in the cafeteria, they would chuckle to themselves. Look at Mrs. Jenkins. She's only here because she wants to see round 2. Can't blame her. Can't blame her. This kid started a war at the zoo. 5th grade field trip to the zoo. Everyone's hyped. The teacher's already stressed, They get to the primate exhibit. The absolute best exhibit in any frickin' zoo. Alright class, hands to yourselves please. Let's respect the facility and the gorillas, okay? There's this one kid. That kid. He picks up a stick and launches it into the gorilla exhibit. Well, the stick lands on the ground right next to a full-grown silverback gorilla. The gorilla turns, sees the kid, grabs the stick, and throws it back. Smack! The stick explodes across this kid's chin. He drops, screaming, blood's everywhere. chaos. This class is freaking out, teachers are screaming, and then the rest of the gorillas show up, all gathered on the other side of the fence right next to this class. They just rolled in like backup, and they're all just smacking the ground. You know, they're all angry. And it's gotta be horrifying for these kids. They're yelling, they're pounding the glass. This is gonna kill me, they're gonna kill me. What is going on? Well, the pounding on the glass alerted the orangutans, who were on just the other side of this exhibit, and they roll in like backup as well. So now it's like a dozen silverback gorillas, a dozen orangutans, all just pounding the glass in the ground on the other side of this class on a field trip. Dear God. That's when the gorillas and the orangutans start pooping in their hand and chucking the poop at the glass. Back to the buses, now. The zoo staff swarms in from all sides. They shut this entire thing down. The exhibit is closed for the rest of the day. 30 minutes later, the school's banned from the zoo for life. And the kid who got the stick thrown at him left in an ambulance. He had to get stitches. That is absolutely insane.
আমি ফোন দিব আর একবারের বেশি যদি রিং হয় মামা মালটা তো জোস সরি 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 ভাবি তুই পারবি তুই দেখ কিভাবে কই সেটিং মিটিং নাই তো সেটিং মানে বুঝো না পেন্টেরিতি ও তো আমাদের ভাবি হয় ওই হিসাবে আমাদের বিয়েটা ভাবছি
আচ্ছা দাঁড়া ওয়েট কর আমাকে একটু ভাবতে দে দেখি কি করা যায় দোস্ত তুই থাক আমি যাই আমি থাকবো মানে তুই থাক দোস্ত
রক্ত লাগবে রে রক্ত আসবো না মানে হ্যাঁ তাই তো শুনলাম আসবো না ঠিক আছে দেখতেছি ব্যাপারটা যাও
কি রে তুই কোচিং এ যাস না কেন
দোস্ত আমি কোচিং এ কিভাবে যাব বল এই গুন্ডাটা যে আমাকে ডিস্টার্ব করে তুই দেখতেই তো পারছস ডেইলি আমার পিছনে লাগা থাকে
আমার ভালোবাসার গল্পটা অপূর্ণ রয়ে গেল গলবে পাখির মন গলবে এমন মন্ত্র দেব
এভাবে রাস্তাঘাটে একটা মেয়েকে উত্তক্ত করে আর নিজের গায়ে রক্ত দিয়ে
হ্যালো
হেই হোয়াটস আপ প্র্যাঙ্ক ম্যান
কে
একটু হলেই তো তোমার ফোন হাওয়া হয়ে যেত
তুই তোর ফোন আর কোনোদিন পাবি না
কেন
তোর বাবা তো তোর ফোনটাকে একদম আসার দিয়ে ভেঙে শেষ এমনকি পানিতে চুবাইছে
আউট অফ কিউরিওসিটি হয়তো দেখা করব বাট আই এম নট দ্যাট মাচ ইজি অলওয়েজ রিমেম্বার
আজকে যদি তারা না থাকতো আজকে তো দিতাম একদম এই খালি স্কার্টেন গার্ডেন
এই যে আপু এসব গার্ডেন ফার্ডেন যায় না আমার ভাই ব্রাদাররা আছে আপনার একদম কামড়ায় দিবে না 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 ব্রো এই যে আপনার ফোন প্র্যাঙ্ক ছিল ব্রো চিল 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 রাকিব ভাই আপনি এসআই রাকিব ভাই না আপনার কথা আমি অনেক শুনছি আচ্ছা আপনি কিন্তু মানে বুঝের লোক টেজে তোলেন
এই হোসেন আলী ক্যামেরা
আগেই কইছিলাম আমার বস ফেমাস হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ
ভাই একটু যদি ধরতে
হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ শিওর
তো কিভাবে যে কনফার্ম হই
এটা তো এদিকে না 3 নাম্বার গেট ওইদিকে শঙ্কর গলি বোধহয় গেটের বাইরে আপনি ভুল আসছেন জান
ভুল আসছে কিন্তু আমি কি চিনতে পারবো
ও আচ্ছা আপনি দ্যাট বোরখা গার্ল
চিনতে পেরেছো তাহলে না
আই লাইক গুড গার্লস। ফলো কর যা। ইফে কই যাই দেখবি যা। সারা জীবনে প্রথম কাউরে প্র্যাঙ্ক করতে যাই, নিজেই আজকে প্র্যাঙ্ক হয়ে গেল।
মুনিয়া তুমি আমাকে বলেছো যে তুমি তোমার কোনো বয়ফ্রেন্ড নাই।
না বয়ফ্রেন্ড না, আমি ওর বয়ফ্রেন্ড, আমি ওর ফিয়ান্সে। ওর সাথে আমার বিয়ে নেক্সট।
ও আচ্ছা।
আমার জন্য?
এটা তোমার জন্য। একটা নতুন ফোন দিলাম।
এই জন্য তাহলে তোমরা এতক্ষণ নাটক করছো?
নাটক না, তোমার ফোনটা পুরনো হয়ে গেছে।
কেন
নতুন ফোন।
আমরা প্র্যাঙ্ক করতে পারি না?
একটা ইম্পর্টেন্ট কথা ছিল তোমার সাথে। এমন করলে কেমন হয় যদি এই এন্টারটেইনমেন্ট জার্নিতে আমি জয়েন করি তোমার সাথে?
সবে ইন্টার সেকেন্ড ইয়ারে পড়ি।
সেকেন্ড ইয়ারে আমার ক্লাস 9 এর পোলাবেনও প্রেম করে। মামা মায়া তো অস্থির। এক্সকিউজ মি আপু, এক্সকিউজ মি, আপনার নামটা যদি বলতেন একটু।
শুনেন বেং সাহেব, আমার বন্ধু জিসান, ঠিক আছে? আপনার বান্ধবীরে শুনুন।
মারি নাই তো, শাসন করছি। ভালো লাগে না, একটু মারতেই পারি। কিন্তু খুব খারাপ হয়ে গেছে। তুই রবিল নামে সুন্দর একটা রিক্সা ডাক।
ভাবি চিনিকে আমার বন্ধু জিসান দেখতে, প্লিজ ভাবি আপনি একটু নেন, প্লিজ ভাবি।
দেখেন ভাবি ফোন তো ধরে না।
আবার কল দে।
এই এই দুলাভাই সামনে থাকলে যে সালাম দিতে হয়, আপনি শিখাই নাই তোরা?
যে কোচিং এর সামনে যে গুন্ডাটা দাঁড়িয়ে থাকে, আমার তো মনে হয় পড়াশোনা সব বন্ধ করে দিবে।
আমি তোর প্রেমের গল্প সাকসেসফুল, আমার কথা বিশ্বাস কর।
আমি শুধু একটু প্রেম ভালোবাসা চাই, আমি শুধু ওরেই চাই বাবা, আমি শুধু ওরে পাইলে হবে।
ওকে, আমি আপনাকে ভালোবাসি। আচ্ছা, আপনার কাছে একটা প্রশ্ন।